Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sends a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Daniel Ortega of Nicaragua on the occasion of his country's independence anniversary. His Majesty the Sultan also sent a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Juan Orlando Hernandez of Honduras on the occasion of his country's independence anniversary. His Majesty the Sultan also sends a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Alejandro Giamatero of Guatemala on his country's independence anniversary. His Majesty sends a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Nayib Bukele of Salvador on his country's independence anniversary. And His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sends a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Carlos Alvarado of Costa Rica on his country's independence anniversary. Upon the royal directives of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander relief flights were operated to Sudan today, which was recently affected by floods following heavy rains. The flights were operated by military transport aircraft from the Royal Air Force of Oman, which took off today from Al Musuna Air Base, carrying various necessary humanitarian needs and various relief materials in coordination with the Oman Charitable Organization. The spread of second wave of COVID-19 pandemic in a number of world countries indicates that all should continue to adhere to the precautionary measures, namely avoiding gatherings and keeping physical distance, especially after the opening of most of the commercial and service activities. Despite media campaigns and awareness messages to the public, some individuals did not adhere to the precautionary measures, and in the last period there were a lot of meetings and unnecessary gatherings on the beaches and markets. The bodies concerned call on all the segments of the community to take this matter seriously, as well as follow the safety instructions to limit the impacts of COVID-19 as much as possible. Health institutions in the Governorate of North Al-Sharqiyya continue their efforts to spread awareness and combat the COVID-19 pandemic, in addition to deal with the patients. The number of cases increased due to the fact that some individuals did not adhere to the precautionary measures while going to the markets and public places. Meanwhile, the health centers are receiving an increased number of the coronavirus patients, and unfortunately the number of those in the intensive care unit in hospitals is also rising. Therefore, it is necessary to wear masks, keep physical distance, and keep washing your hands to avoid being infected by COVID-19. The total number of positive COVID-19 cases in the Sultanate reached 90,222, while the number of recoveries stood at 83,928. Meanwhile, the Minister of Health said the total number of COVID-19 related death cases stood at 790. The 9th Bioethics Forum is to kick off tomorrow virtually with the international participants. More details in the following report. With the aim towards identifying the ethical considerations about developing, distributing and deploying a COVID-19 vaccine, the 9th Bioethics Forum will kick off tomorrow at 8 p.m. via Zoom in the presence of His Excellency Minister of Health and His Highness Vice Chancellor Sultan Qaboos University and President of Oman National Bioethics Committee, and Sheikh, the Assistant Grand Mufti of the Sultanate, with the participation of over 500 people from the Sultanate and around the world, together with experts from WHO and UNICEF.
This is the 9th forum whereby we are faced with COVID-19. Lockdown, economy, it has affected the whole world. Now it is our role to address the ethical issues concerning the COVID-19, and in particular, where the whole world is now talking about vaccination, whether it is a reality or not? Any side effects or not? Any hidden agenda and conspiracy theory? All this will be dealt with our scholars, whom we have picked from top of the top. We have got scholars from United Nations, UNESCO, and the local scholars here, headed by Sheikh Dr. Kahlan, who will be addressing these issues.
During this forum, we are going to discuss ethical issues related to the development, distribution, and deployment of the vaccine. This vaccine is different from previous vaccines. Vaccine usually take years to be developed. However, this vaccine was needed urgently and was developed differently. So there are many ethical issues in developing vaccine very fast in terms of safety and other issues. In addition, this vaccine is weighted by millions of people. So the deployment and distribution of this vaccine will raise many ethical issues, including who should get the vaccine first, can poor countries afford getting this vaccine, who should decide about the price of this vaccine. In addition to that, can this vaccine be mandatory or optional for people?
This forum, which is organized by the Sultanate National Bioethics Committee in collaboration with Sultan Qaboos University and UNESCO, is hoping to reach to the outcome that will help the decision maker resolving the issue of COVID-19 vaccine. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat. Now, as new cases of novel coronavirus continue to rise in the Sultanate, youth are sharing responsibility to inform one another. I met with some of them this morning, and they have this to say.
Dear colleagues, we all know what is happening out there in the world. We must work together to prevent the second wave of COVID-19 to hit our beautiful country. Together, we have to follow the precautions announced by the Ministry of Health, and this is also to all of our parents, our mothers and fathers. We want you safe and sound. Please follow and adhere to whatever is announced by the Ministry of Health.
Dear people in Oman, brothers, sisters, fathers and mothers, we need to start working to boost our economy. We need to move on with our life and start our education. So please prevent any unnecessary gatherings, and if you need to gather, basically follow the precautionary measures by washing your hands, wearing masks, and take the physical distance in order to prevent the second wave.
COVID-19 is a disease which is like spreading around the whole entire world, and we have to be very careful from it. Although everything is open, but we have to still treat every single surface as if it's contaminated with COVID-19 or with the virus, coronavirus. So please make sure that you are taking all the responsibility of yourself. Protect yourself and protect your family and the people around you, and be responsible. You have to be completely aware that you should use your masks anytime you are in any closed area, close to people, because the virus likes us, likes the human, and it is going to be multiplicating inside our bodies, and we want to stop it from spreading. So although everything is open again, as I mentioned, you have to be very aware that the virus is still around, and it's actually harvesting the lives of many people. So your mask is very important, washing your hands is very important, and don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth anytime without washing them.
I have noticed that the elderly people are more aware of this COVID-19, and they are taking all the restrictions or the precautions, and they are following the restrictions. They are coming, or all the restrictions coming from the government and the Ministry of Health. However, the younger people are taking it very easy, so which can be very dangerous. So please follow the restrictions, wear masks, keep social distancing, because we are facing another wave of this COVID-19. So please be responsible.
My fellow youth, let's be serious in following preventing methods and unnecessary gathering let's be united to stop COVID-19.
Indeed, we trust the message will get to one and all. It's very important to stick to the precautionary measures. We here at the Sultanate of Oman Television, and I believe everywhere in the country, do follow the precautionary measures. My mask is here. The technical virtual meeting organized by a Commission for Controlling the Desert Locust in the Central Region in cooperation with the Regional Office of Food Agriculture Organization FAO in North Africa and Near East discussed the efforts exerted in controlling the desert locust in the region. The meeting also reviewed the risk caused by the locust on food security, trade and economy in the area. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Nasser al-Bakri, Undersecretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Water Resources for Agriculture, chaired the meeting. And now to the international news. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is leading the European Union talks with China, looking to focus on trade and investment agreement and building trust to improve their prickly relations. Merkel is holding a video conference with Chinese President Xi Jinping, backed by European Union Council President Charles Michel, Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, and the bloc's foreign policy chief Joseph Borrell. The Europeans say the talks between the two of the world's three largest economies will allow them to focus on economic issues, reform of the World Trade Organization, climate change, and the coronavirus pandemic. The European Union also wants to raise human rights issues. Turkey said today that the United States needed to return to a neutral stance on Cyprus after Washington and Nicosia signed a memorandum of understanding to create a training center. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said earlier this month that the United States would lift a 33-year arms embargo on Cyprus and deepen its security cooperation with Nicosia. During a visit to Cyprus, Pompeo said on Saturday that Washington remained deeply concerned about Turkey's actions in the Eastern Mediterranean, where it is at a standoff with Greece and Cyprus over maritime areas though to be rich in natural gas. The Eastern Mediterranean island was split in a Turkish invasion in 1974, triggered by a brief Greek-inspired group. Its internationally recognized Greek Cypriot government represents the whole island in the European Union, although its authority is effectively confirmed or confined to the southern part. North Cyprus is a Turkish Cypriot state recognized only by Ankara. Meanwhile, Turkey said today that energy exploration vessels that had pulled out of waters claimed by Greece was only undergoing routine maintenance and would return soon. The Orok-Reis seismic survey ship has been unsettling the strategic Eastern Mediterranean region since Turkey sent it along with a small navy flotilla into disputed seas on August 10th. Greece responded by staging navy drills with France and several European Union allies near ones Turkey was holding last month. Ankara confirmed yesterday that the ship had pulled out of the contested waters and returned to the Turkish coast. The Turkish Energy Ministry said in a separate statement that after undergoing examination and care, the vessel will continue its seismic search and research activities. The novel coronavirus has killed at least 924,968 people since the outbreak emerged in China last December. More than 29 million cases of coronavirus have been registered. Of these, around 19.3 million are now considered recovered. The United States is the worst hit country with 194,081 deaths from 6.52 million cases. After the US, the hardest hit countries are Brazil with 131,625 deaths, India 79,722, Mexico 70,821, and the United Kingdom with 41,628 deaths. Europe recorded 221,352 deaths, Asia 116,093, the Middle East 40,141, and Africa 32,600 deaths. Tropical storm Sally is moving over the northern central Gulf of Mexico today before becoming a hurricane as it heads towards southeastern Louisiana. The second storm in less than a month to threaten the region, Sally is forecast to strengthen and bring heavy rains and winds of up to 137 kilometers per hour. Mississippi and Louisiana issued mandatory evacuation orders to residents of low-lying areas, and Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards appealed for a federal disaster declaration and advised people living in Sally's path to flee. Energy companies scrambled to pull workers from offshore oil and gas production platforms. Chevron Corporation and Equinor and Murphy Oil Corporation shut in wells as a precaution, and refiner Phillips 66 halted processing at its Alliance refinery on the Louisiana coast. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and before we end this news bulletin, here are the main points once again. Upon royal directives of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, relief flights are operated to Sudan. Continuing calls by bodies concerned to adhere to the precautionary measures in order to avoid the second wave of COVID-19 spread. And China and the European Union discussed the commercial and investment relations between the two sides. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. The news has been directed by Abdullah Al-Ma'wali, and the English news editor, Muhammad Al-Yahmadi. From me, Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubi', and the entire news team, we do follow the precautionary measures to spread the coronavirus. Good night.